Yep.
What's up, everybody? We're live. It only took us like an extra 7 minutes. The joys of doing live broadcasting. What's up, everybody? My name is Josh Kroll, and welcome to the second episode of AttractionsCast. This is the Attractions Tubes Attractions Cast. We're still trying to figure out how to say that. It's our podcast all about attractions, no matter what they are, not just Disney, Universal, roadside, anything, haunts, haunted attractions, home haunts, Route 66, something in your backyard. I don't care what it is. We'll come and check it out. Joining me today, like last week, is Mr. Pete Carney, also known as Official Pete or Adventures by Pete.
Or neither one. There's no Pete in either one of those. But hi, I'm Pete Carney, and it's nice to be on the show.
Well, that's what you're known as.
You can follow me on Adventures by Carney, but very close, Josh. Very close.
It is very, very close. Very, very close. Wow, weird. Your screen's got some black bars around that. I'll have to fix that in just a second. Anyway, we are joined by a very special guest. I met him on Instagram. I almost said Twitter. On Instagram. Started following him because I'm a coffee nut. I drink vastly too much coffee every day. I'm probably in the like 4 to 5 cups a day type thing, and it's bad. It's bad how much coffee that I drink.
Is it though?
I mean, maybe, probably not. Anyway, so our special guest is Matthew Blackard, who has the Twitter handle Disney Coffee Blog. So let's say hello to Mr. Matthew. There he is. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So for those who have no idea who you are, no idea what your blog is, can you just describe who you are and what you do a little bit?
Yeah, so actually only on Instagram. It's the only social media network I'm on. But I have a blog about drinking coffee in Disney World, just because it's my favorite thing to do there. And I want to help people who come on vacation spend their time and money wisely and not waste their vacation on bad coffee. So trying to go around the parks and experience new coffee drinks from the restaurants and the hotels and the parks and document it all.
There you go. See, I like that. It's simple. It's nice. It's very you know what you're doing. Yeah. And it's caffeinated, so I'm totally okay with that. Let's jump into the room here with everybody, and let's all say hello to each other here. Let's get this going here. There we are. We're all here. Whoa, Pete has a hat on all of a sudden.
Yeah, I didn't like the way I got out of the shower and it just dried weird. So I put a hat on because for the good of your show, to me, that's the real way.
For the good of the show. Perfect. All right. Well, it does look like we are live. So anybody who's watching on Facebook and YouTube, send us a chat if anything you want to know, any questions you have, anything about coffee you might be curious about, because we have the coffee expert on the show today. So that being said, let's run through Walt Disney World, because I know where there's some coffee, but I'm not a coffee expert, right? So like when I'm at Disney World, I'm usually running to Starbucks. That's just usually what happens if I'm in the park.
Right.
And I'm not like a foo-foo coffee drinker, meaning I don't get the like giant frappuccinos and stuff, just because I'm like, if I want cake, I'll go buy a piece of cake, right? Like that's more or less to me what that is. I do like espresso. I usually drink everything black as well. So let's start in like Animal Kingdom, because I think that's probably the least coffee-filled park out of all of them.
It is, yeah.
So where? Sorry, go for
it. It's got some great coffee options, though.
Well, I was gonna say, can I jump out of the gate with just and I'm gonna let you go, and I'm sure we'll get into this.
Whoa, Pete.
But we probably should
Calm
preface
down.
this with every park has at least one Starbucks location and at least one Joffrey's location. Am I correct in this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I am also very excited and curious to find out like what is the best and why, because we know these exist, and then we know Disney sells coffee on their own as well. So I would just want to preface the conversation with that, because if you can get really deep with me, I would love to know where and what specifically. I'm like Josh, where I too usually only drink espresso, and maybe if they have some like really weird roast, I'll drink it black. But I am an espresso junkie, or some kind of cool coffee beverage or cocktail. But anyway, I just wanted to jump in and say, for those who are watching, listening, that every park has a Joffrey's and a Starbucks. That's why this is really cool to take a deep dive into the coffee world. So anyway, sorry for cutting you off, Matthew. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. At every park in Disney Springs has 2 Starbucks. but every park has their own themed Starbucks location. I actually always skip them though because the lines are so long, and I think Joffrey's is a little bit better. But Joffrey's being the specialty coffee provider of Disney World and Disneyland and the cruise lines, they have a partnership in which they'll make a specific roast for a good restaurant or a specific hotel. Animal Kingdom has 3 Joffrey's coffee blends itself. Actually, no, Animal Kingdom Lodge. And then within Animal Kingdom, there's another couple. So
really,
yeah. Boma has its own coffee. Jico has its own coffee, which is very, very good. And what's the third one? Jico, Boma, and Sanaa.
yeah.
They all have their own coffees.
I didn't know that. So Joffrey's not only has locations in the parks, but they're the ones who also do all the roasts for all the individual restaurants.
Yeah, for a sit-down restaurant like Victoria and Albert's, Brown Derby, California Grill, Artist Point. The list goes on and on.
That's all Joffrey's.
Joffrey's. The roast master there, Chris DeMezzo, he, looks at the menu, talks to the chefs, and he creates a coffee blend for that specific menu. And you can buy them on the Joffrey's website.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So you said the coffee guru himself is Chris DeMezzo. Now, is that exclusively for Disney, or is that like the head guy for Joffrey's? Like, what's his official title and why? And like, what's his reach?
He is the head roast master for Joffrey's Coffee and Tea. He's not like affiliated with Disney at all. Okay. I don't think. Joffrey started with one coffee kiosk in Typhoon Lagoon, and since a couple of years of doing.
You mean started at Disney or started as a company?
Oh no, they started as a company in 1984. Just doing their own thing.
Oh, okay.
The year I was born. Oh,
me too.
What a year!
What a year for us and for coffee. Yeah, they're based out of Tampa. They're kind of local, I guess you could say. But they were just doing their own thing. They opened up a kiosk in Typhoon Lagoon, and it was awesome. And by 2012, Disney said, "Okay, so we want you guys to." Expand to every park and the restaurants and the hotels and Disneyland too, and the cruise lines. So it's an awesome opportunity for them. And then 2012 is also the year when Starbucks came into Disney too. So
Disney approached them. They didn't approach Disney and say like, "Hey, let us into the other parks," or is this like a collaboration?
That's a good question. I don't know. If it was. I don't know who. Put their foot forward first, but it was definitely a collaboration between. Okay. I think Chris mentioned that one of the Disney executives came into the Joffrey's store in Tampa and said, "Whoa, this stuff is awesome. I'd like to talk to you." Well, I guess I answered my own question. I think it was Disney who approached Joffrey's.
There you go.
Wow.
We sleuthed it. We figured it out. So from what I'm understanding, Joffrey's has a much bigger footprint at Disney than I understood, because I thought Joffrey's was just a couple of carts,
No, they're the OGs.
Sprinkled around.
Yeah. They replaced all the Nescafe machines.
Yeah. So I worked at Disneyland like 15 years ago when we were all Nescafe, and that was sort of that was the butt of the joke, that how bad the Disney coffee was.
Yes.
It was terrible. And like cast members, we had little packets of like Nescafe crap that they would give us in the back and just be like, "Here, heat this up with water if you're tired or if you want some like pick me up." And it was awful. It was bad. So I was very happy when Starbucks came in at Disneyland to just get rid of them. And I never understood why, because back in the day, Disney had their own blend still, and they would sell their own blend. I actually posted. So I'll backtrack my story. So Matt and I have been going back and forth on Instagram stories. I've been taking pictures of mugs and tagging Disney Coffee Blog every single morning because I have this obnoxious array of Disney and theme park mugs. I took a picture the other day with an old coffee tin of Mickey's coffee. It was a Mickey roast. That was from like 12 years ago, maybe something like that. And that was the old roast. Because now, if I remember right, like at WDW, they sell roasts, but it's still, is it a Joffrey's blend?
No, it's Disney's own coffee.
Is it their own coffee? Okay.
I think it's distributed by like Theme Park Roast or something like that.
Maybe that's what it was.
But yeah, the tins have been kind of discontinued, and now they just have the bags.
Yeah.
But they do have a good breakfast blend, blonde roast, and they have a pumpkin spice, which is pretty bad. But I think all pumpkin spice coffee is bad.
Yeah, I can attest to the pumpkin spice. We were staying there over the fall.
Disagree.
And
I am your basic person.
No. I love pumpkin spice. The pumpkin spice Disney bagged coffee, we bought it this last fall. We were staying at Saratoga Springs. We were like, let's buy pumpkin spice. Went back to the room and brewed it. I don't know if it was one because we brewed it in the DVC coffee pot, and that coffee pot just tastes like cigarette ash and old coffee and will always taste that way, or if it was the actual blend of coffee. But it was one of the worst cups of coffee I've ever had in my life. It was terrible. Yeah. Whoa!
Oh, God.
Bless you, Pete.
Oh, tried to save the show. Sorry. I'm allergic to pumpkin spice anything. No, I'm kidding.
But no, like when pumpkin spice happens at Starbucks, I become like a Valley white girl from SoCal. I'm just like screaming and running to Starbucks.
I gotta have a pumpkin spice latte. PSLs are awesome. I don't know. It's something about it like makes me feel autumny or fall.
That's awesome. And where better to drink them than in the hub?
Yeah,
Magic Kingdom.
Exactly. When we can eventually get back into the hub.
Yeah.
Eventually. It'll happen. All right. So you said Theme Park Roast is who does the bags, and we've learned that Joffrey's Coffee controls the world, is what we figured out so far.
Well, yeah, and then we it was my fault. I cut you off because you were giving an awesome story about how Joffrey's was there first, and then Starbucks came in what year? You said
2012.
2012. So yeah, so I interrupted you there. How does the story continue?
So Main Street Bakery was the first Starbucks in Disney World, and then it went to the Fountain View, which is no longer there anymore in Epcot.
R.I.P.
And then the Trolley Car Cafe is so good in Hollywood Studios. Yeah. And then my favorite out of all of them is Creature Comforts in Animal Kingdom.
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome.
What makes one Starbucks better than the other? Is it? Are you talking like about location, about theming, about the actual coffee, about the selection, about the customer service? What makes each Starbucks location better than the other, according to you?
That's a good question. It's got to be theming and location for Animal Kingdom, just because you can grab a coffee right before heading into Africa, and it's themed so well. Although Trolley Car Cafe does have a really good theme to it too, because
Trolley Car is my favorite.
Yeah, it's based after, it's mirrored. That entire building is mirrored after the Ivy substation in California, and they actually, there's a whole backstory there. I posted on it a couple days ago, but you can go in and play with the switches and the knobs and stuff like that that control the trolleys.
I follow your Instagram. I swear, I totally saw it.
And
those are definitely the top two for sure.
Yeah. And then as far as Epcot goes, I know it's just kind of like a strip mall Starbucks right now, but hopefully it turns into something bigger and better.
They are, from my sources, what I'm being told is that is a temporary location, and that Starbucks will have a brand new. Very excited to see what they do, because it's going to be new construction come 2022 or 2023. Awesome. But I mean, for what it is now, I mean, they needed a location, and I don't hate where it is because we got new bathrooms with it, so I don't hate that.
Well, and it's clearly a temporary, because it's basically just like a shipping container that they've hollowed out and put a Starbucks into. Yeah. I think is what it actually is. I think it's just a black painted shipping container.
For those who haven't been to Epcot in the last, I'll say 4 or 5 months since it opened, it's when you're walking from Future World to the World Showcase, looking at the World Showcase, it's on the right path. Yep. Kind of where during the festivals you have like the chocolate stations or the playground. It's heading towards Canada on that last
that
path
back road
right.
up into the Imagination Pavilion, or back out of the Imagination Pavilion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it's the opposite way. If you were to go towards Mexico, you would pass the Joffrey's coffee, And if you go to the right towards Canada, you pass the Starbucks. So choose wisely.
They can battle. Okay, so speaking of Epcot, so let's jump into Epcot. So Epcot's got, I mean, they used to have the Fountain View. We talked about that. And now they've got those 2 Starbucks. And there's a Joffrey's cart, though, like, what, every, I don't know, 100 feet, it feels like, right? Oh, there's 4. I thought it felt like every other country there was a Joffrey's cart.
Yeah, I can say this because I actually know this, and then I won't know anything else about coffee, so Mac can take over. But I know that there's one right as you're entering, like I said, before Mexico, and if you keep heading around the world, there's one in between Italy and America. And then if you keep going, there is one between the UK and Canada, kind of by over there. And then you have to go up towards the old Universe of Energy, or where the temporary mouse gear is for the last location, over there for the last location. And I only know that because I love the cool thing about, and again, I don't want to step on your toes, Matt, but you know so much more than I do. So I get excited when I know anything about anything.
It's true. That's how we met. It's true.
It's really cool. Yeah, I'm very excited, clearly. I love, and this is why I think I like Joffrey's more than Starbucks too, is that they do custom coffee or smoothie cocktails for every festival at Epcot, which is super cool. And I like to go try out what Joffrey's does because I think they're better cocktails than some of the festival booths.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They were pretty good. The Flower and Garden ones I tried, Pete, when we were all walking around that one day and got terrible sunburns. The couple that I tried were fantastic.
That was opening day of Flower and Garden. Yeah, speaking of roasting, I got roasted that day. My face was a nice shade of red.
Yeah, I was bad. I filmed on our channel. There's like a 2-hour walk around of Epcot on Flower and Garden. So I was filming that video just out in the sun, walking around nonstop, and I forgot all sunblock. So I got done with that 2-hour video and was just, I still have like a massive farmer's tan happening that just won't go because of that day. It's bad. Okay, back to coffee. So I have a question.
So I keep cutting you up.
All those Joffrey's carts, though, do they have all the same things at Epcot, or like the cocktails, do they have different options?
During the festivals, they all have their own special options. So the 4 kiosks in Epcot, they all have non-alcoholic and alcoholic smoothie drinks specifically for the festivals. And you're right, they're all great. The kiosk before the entrance of Epcot doesn't participate in any of the festival special things, but for the most part, they're roasting the same blend of coffee throughout all 5
You're talking about the
kiosks.
one outside the gate before you scan your magic band. Okay.
Yep.
And that's, I think, the interesting thing about Epcot is like, we know we're huge. You're gonna need coffee before you even get into the park. Like,
well, they're also outside of Animal Kingdom too.
Are they?
Yeah, they're Animal Kingdom. If you're looking at the entrance, they're all the way to the far right, where there's like a little merch stand to the left. If you're coming from the Disney buses, you pass the merch stand. If you're coming from the parking lot, you pass the Joffrey's.
Oh, interesting. And then I know they're over at the Ticket and Transportation Center. There's one there too, correct?
Yeah.
Right by the monorail station.
So technically you're outside of Magic Kingdom, but there's no Joffrey's outside of Hollywood or no Joffrey's outside of the Magic Kingdom except for the TTC.
The TTC, yeah.
Yep, you're right.
I have a question. Do all the Joffrey's booths have bees or just a select number?
Every time I go there, I tell the cast member baristas, I'm like, I give you credit because you're just walking and shooing thousands of these bees away.
Do we think this is because of the frozen drinks or because of the donuts?
Yes. No, all the bees land on the flavor pumps, like the Monin flavor syrups. So if you're getting anything flavored in Epcot, there's going to be bees.
We do tease on a lot of shows that I'm on that the bee booths. We feel for the cast members as well. Like I've been there on days where they've had to shut down and just wait for the bees to leave. They have to cover it all up. They say come back in an hour. That we have to let the bees like dissipate, like let them fly away.
Why haven't I ever noticed this?
Oh yeah,
oh my God, it's bad.
On a hot day, they are swarming around, especially because people are like, and they have the specialty slushies. So like that stuff is either spilling where they pour it, spilling on the counter, or people grab it and it spills. So you have this sweet lemonade or whatever flavor they're using spilling. So bees are attracted to that. They have the flavor pumps for the coffee, and they have the donuts sitting out with frosting on top. They are like begging for, especially the one most often is the one next to the American Pavilion between there and Italy.
Oh yes, it is always
swarming with bees.
Just imagine making a coffee in your kitchen, and there's a beehive right next to you.
Yeah,
like that. That's how it is.
I'm gonna have to once the parks reopen, I'm gonna need to go investigate that. I've literally never noticed this at all, ever.
Oh, jeez, I'll point it out for you.
So yeah, there's a lot of Joffrey's. There's 5 total in Epcot, counting the one before the entrance. But altogether, there's 32 places in Epcot to get coffee. So
wow, get out of here!
32.
No, that's the restaurants around the world. There's other kiosks too that sell coffee.
That's like perfect for a bracket. We could do a 32-tier bracket down to the best place to get coffee.
Okay, we're definitely doing this. We're 100% doing a coffee bracket.
32 is a sweet number.
Some secret coffee menu items too. Like if you go to Mexico, if you go into La Cava del Tequila,
okay,
they'll
you've
make
already got my attention.
They'll make you a coffee margarita, which is awesome.
A coffee margarita?
A coffee margarita.
So what coffee do they use in it? Is it good, or is it just like have it because it's worth trying?
It's good. It's like a frozen slushy. That's strong espresso. It's good.
And with tequila.
With tequila, yeah.
That's incredible.
Now, do they use do you know? And again, this is more of a tequila question than a coffee question. So you say they use espresso, but are they using like what kind of tequila, or is it like a mezcal? Is it like an aged tequila? Is it a silver? Or is this? I should just look.
I think it's a mezcal. I have to look on my feed because I'm doing like a best boozy coffee drinks around World Showcase, and my first stop was Mexico, and then I got up to Morocco.
Because the mezcal would give it like the smoky flavor. So like I'm curious. That's very interesting.
This would be a good Len Testa question. For those who don't know, Len Testa from the old WW Today is like a La Cava del Tequila freak. Like he loves La Cava, to the point that when I was at La Cava, I was texting him like, "What should I get? What drinks do I need to get?" And he was like, "Get this and get this and get this and get this." He just knows the menu inside and out, so it'd be interesting to hear about that. Okay, so I have a question for you. So one of my favorite coffees at Epcot is the one. I don't remember what the cafe is. The cafe in Morocco in the back. It's like a little shot of espresso, but they put like a bunch of spices in it, and then they brew it. What is that called? And that's not Joffrey's coffee, right? That's some other blend.
No, that's the Moorish coffee from Tangerine Cafe.
Yeah, it's delicious.
It's a super strong shot of Moroccan coffee with nutmeg and cinnamon in it.
So good. Oh, it's delicious. If it wasn't like $5 or $6,
so this is the Tangerine Cafe. I'm assuming that's like the kind of their version of the quick service restaurant off to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And they have their own coffee. This is just a coffee or a coffee like cocktail? What is this?
So if you go in the back there's a big sign that says coffee and pastry bar.
Yeah.
And they have their own. It's not Joffrey's. It's not Disney. It's their. I don't know who makes it, but yeah, they have their own Moroccan espresso back there, and several different variations to it. Like you can add different flavors like hazelnut and vanilla, or just get it straight. But it'll knock you over.
It's
really?
Funny. This is how much coffee I drank because I sipped it and went, "Oh, that was good." And like no,
I was gonna say like I only
anything.
drink double and triple espressos, so I'm excited for this because again, a black coffee to me just tastes like water. Mm-hmm. So if this is a strong coffee or espresso, you have my attention.
Yeah, it's good. It's really, really good. All right, so we talked a little bit about Hollywood Studios. Let's move into Hollywood Studios. So we know we have Trolley Car Cafe.
Wait, hold on. Before we leave, I feel like, Matthew, you didn't finish. What are we missing in Epcot before we leave Epcot?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Like the hits and misses, because we're all over the place, and I really need to know because I'm excited.
Let's see. There are 2 pavilions that don't serve coffee whatsoever. So that's
okay.
Germany and Japan.
So avoid Germany and Japan at all costs. Got it.
Yeah.
Well, Germany's got the beer. Japan's got the sake. It's fair enough. Besides Morocco, what is who is there anyone else who does their own coffee or the better versions of coffee? What's going on with
If
coffee?
I had to guess, I would say Canada. If there's anybody else.
Canada.
I feel like Italian espresso, like even espresso in the supermarket.
Comes
from
maybe
Italy.
Yeah.
The Italy Pavilion in Via Napoli and Tutto Gusto and Tutto Italia, they do Lavazza coffee, which is an Italian brand.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. Yep.
It's kind of like the
comedians in cars getting coffee. Yes.
Yeah. That show was
that is Jerry Seinfeld's coffee.
I blame Jerry Seinfeld for my blog because I got the idea from Jerry Seinfeld because I love that show so much, and I thought, it would be awesome to do like a Disney World version of that show where I just go and get coffee with a friend, like one of you guys, and we talk about like attractions or whatever.
This,
so
because
what you're saying is we're doing this.
Show, and I was gonna say, like, what a cool niche, like, or like, because there's so many Disney themed things, like, and there's a lot of like, whether it's YouTubers or just handles or blogs or vlogs. And when I saw the Disney Coffee blog, like, I was like, that's genius. How has no one thought of this? Everyone loves coffee. So kudos to you. That's genius.
Yeah, it was just kind of, when we moved to Disney, I thought, I'm here all the time. My wife and our kids go. It would be cool if I could have a blog about it, but I don't want to cover the same like Tron construction updates or like Guardians of the Galaxy updates. I want to do only one thing and make it easy, and then get really good at that one thing.
That's awesome. Where are you? So you live locally?
Yeah, I'm in Winter Garden, so I'm right across the street and going through withdrawal because I can't watch Festival of Happily Ever After fireworks from our house anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately. All right, so
so that's Epcot. Is there anything else we need to know in Epcot before we leave?
Yeah,
I need to.
You used to be able to buy Tim Hortons coffee in Canada, in the gift shop.
You used to be able to get Tim Hortons?
Yeah, in the gift shop, next to the maple syrup and the.
Is that where every Canadian would be like, guys, it's everywhere. Why do you want this stuff?
Yeah, that's like getting Dunkin' Donuts in the American Pavilion.
Yeah,
people
right.
Are like, so what?
And?
Yeah.
So if I could ask a question, sorry, Josh, I just keep asking so many questions,
You're
and I
good.
know you probably. I'm very curious. This is awesome. So like, what is your pick? Like, what is like, or if one is too hard, you do like a gold, silver, bronze. But like, what are the must-have coffees anywhere in the Epcot theme park?
We should do each park, and then we'll do overall. So this is
overall.
Okay, so Epcot.
Okay, so let me think. Epcot, I would probably say my favorite coffee in Epcot's going to be something at the Joffrey's kiosk, honestly, because they rotate they only sell one type of coffee, like at their kiosk, and they rotate it a couple times a year. So they'll bring in coffee that's only served in Le Cellier, or they'll bring in coffee from like Sumatra or Peru. So when you go to a Joffrey's kiosk in any park, at Starbucks you can pick the blend that you want, but Joffrey's you're getting something that they chose, that they want to serve at that kiosk. They also have a lot of specials throughout the year. So if I'm going to Epcot, I'm probably stopping at Joffrey's first. Other than that, the coffees around the restaurants in World Showcase, for the most part, they're Joffrey's brand, except the ones that we talked about before, like in Italy. But it's there, like when I said there were 32 places to get coffee, there's definitely no shortage of it. You just have to know where to look.
It doesn't seem like it at Epcot. It seems like there's coffee everywhere. Interesting. I had no idea there was that much coffee. Like I was kind of like, oh no, Starbucks is shut down. Where am I going to go for coffee? I mean, other than the Joffrey's carts, right? But it was like, oh man, okay.
Well, I'm assuming Epcot also has the most dining options anywhere in the park.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm assuming every dining option probably has a dessert option, which means they're going to ask you, would you like coffee or cake or dessert? If you're in a restaurant at Epcot, that coffee is most likely Joffrey's, if we had to guess.
Yeah, it's usually going to be Joffrey's French roast, like their normal, like this is the normal coffee. Yeah, pump it out.
So here's a question. So if it's all basically Joffrey's French roast, right? So before we moved to Disney, like you guys, and we would vacation here, we would generally always be on the dining plan because we're crazy people and we just want to eat whatever we want and get all this food and taste everything. So generally we'd end every meal with coffee, and they always bring like a big French press thing, and it looks all fancy, and you get it. That's just Joffrey's French roast and a French press?
It depends what restaurant. Le Cellier has their own Joffrey's coffee that's only served there.
Oh, okay. So there's a few restaurants that's like, if you're really into coffee and you go to that restaurant, make sure you get coffee. So like Le Cellier would be one of them. I'm guessing like, is it Monsieur or Monsieur Paul would probably be one if I had to guess.
You would think they don't. Joffrey's never made one specifically for that
Come
restaurant.
on, Josh. They serve French roast. Of course, the France Pavilion has the French roast. Come on.
I was waiting for you to like jump on that.
No. I do have a follow-up about Le Cellier and these other restaurants that do the Joffrey's different blends. Are they also seasonal, or they have like a one-off forever? Like, does Le Cellier
yeah, it's a good
work
question.
with Joffrey's to have a seasonal coffee like the booths, or are they like, here, this is the Le Cellier blend, you use this forever?
Yeah, the latter. It's more like, this is the blend of coffee that we're using at this restaurant.
So people are familiar with that. Like, if I had Le Cellier in 2016 and I came back in 2019, I'd have around the same coffee.
Yeah. And there's no way to get it, right? So there's no way to like ask a server like, hey, can you get me a bag of this coffee to take home?
Can I get a bag of the beans?
Yeah, can I get
not in Epcot, but if you go to Disney Springs, Joffrey's has their own store there that you can buy it.
Like, you can buy the blend like from Le Cellier, or
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Where? I know they have booths, but I don't know.
In Disney Springs, near the Boathouse restaurant, the Joffrey's Coffee and Tea retail store.
It's on the corner there, right?
So you can go in,
yeah,
and they just have shelves and shelves of all the different Disney blends. So,
really,
if you wanted to get, I think it's a great souvenir for people who like want to experience something Disney related at home and remember, like I had such a good dinner at Yachtsman Steakhouse, and I really like their coffee. So go to the store in Disney Springs and buy a pack of it, and then when you get home, you're like, this is the good coffee that I had at Yachtsman.
That's amazing. I'm absolutely, when Disney Springs opens, going and buying some Le Cellier coffee, because I now need to know what Le Cellier coffee tastes like. Since
I can't get there, I've broken down and I've done 2 orders on Joffreys.com.
Oh, can you buy them online?
You can buy all their coffee online, and now they're doing like 20% off, so you should go do it.
All right,
get out of here, bro.
I'm buying.
And is that a full comprehensive list? So, like, let's say I went to Joffrey's website, I would know all the different blends they do for Disney. They're listed.
Yeah, they have them listed. I think there's 20.
I'm looking it up right now. Like, I'm literally going to it right now.
Their website's pretty awesome, and they make a lot of good non-Disney coffee too.
Yeah, but nobody cares about non-Disney coffee. I'm just kidding. I'm literally just searching Disney and Joffrey's and seeing what happens. Disney French Roast Decaf K-Cups. You can get Keurig cups with their Disney French Roast blend.
I don't have a Keurig, but yeah, you can get K-Cups and just like the same ones that are served in your hotel room.
Wow, that's super interesting. Huh. I had no idea. Okay, so real quick before let me not make Pete yell at me. Hang on. Is this all of Epcot? We have nothing else in Epcot?
No, we're good. There's a lot of actually there's a couple good like boozy coffee drinks. There's one in Norway called Viking. There's it's called Viking coffee.
Viking coffee.
The China Pavilion has a really good alcoholic coffee called Tipsy Ducks in Love.
Tipsy Ducks in Love is my favorite.
It's so good.
Yes. I get that I'm going to say almost every time in the World Showcase, or at least every other.
I think my wife and I are the only 2 people on the planet who hate that drink.
I don't listen. It doesn't make sense. I don't drink half of the things that are in a Tipsy Ducks in Love. Like, I don't like Jim Beam. I don't like tea. I don't drink, like, I only drink espresso. Like, everything that's in that, like, chocolate, I don't need chocolate. Yet everything that's in it, when it's put all together, for some reason, I love this beverage.
And I'm the exact opposite. I eat everything individually, but put together, it's awful. It is so bad. I hate it. I cannot stand it. No,
I love it. It's a perfect pick-me-up that'll get you through like the rest of the day, like making your way around the World Showcase. That'll pick you right up.
And I even retried it because when we were there on opening day of Food and Wine, you guys got a Tipsy Ducks in Love, and I was like, all right, I'll retry it because it's been a couple of years since I had it. And the last time I had it, or the first time I had it, and the last time I had it because it was once, we were drinking around the world, and I didn't know if it was just I had just been drinking around the world, so anything alcoholic was just, I don't want anymore, or if I really didn't like the drink, and I took one sip of it and was just done. Could not handle it. Was not my thing. Go back to the Viking one real quick. So is that like coffee with, I can't remember the name of the liquor, Aquafina? They call it Satan's Tears. If you go in there, you can get a shot of it. But it's this particular liquor, and it's really strong. In the Norway Pavilion, it's one of those like drinking around the world things where you go and get this particular.
Oh, I know
drink.
what you're talking about. Yeah, I've had a shot of this. It tastes awful.
Really? Oh, it's really fun. I liked it. I really actually enjoyed it.
God.
That's funny.
Oh man, my taste buds are just ruined. I'll never be an Iron Chef. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm curious what wine you like. We have to go wine tasting one day too. But
we
yeah,
need to go wine tasting. Yeah. We also need to go. This is completely not related, but we also need to go. There is a whiskey and wine distillery in Winter Park that I think Pete you went to. They also do beer or something like that. We need to go because whiskey is my thing. I should start the whiskey Disney whiskey blog.
Yeah, count me in for that.
.com. All right, so real quick, this is a total caveat. So they're not sponsoring the show, but I feel like we would be remiss if we didn't mention Expedition Roasters at some point on this podcast. So for those who don't know,
Roasters, what is that? For those who don't know, like myself.
So Expedition Roasters is a coffee house, I guess. They're only online. They make their own blends. They're absolutely amazing, different types of coffee, but they're all themed to either Harry Potter or Disney or Universal attractions. So like they have a banana flavored coffee called Skipper's Brew. They have a breakfast blend that's Route 66. And they're all very clearly Disney themed, but they're just outside of copyright so that they don't get in trouble. I'm super biased against them because I bought like barrels of their coffee and ended up doing a couple of commercials for them, of which I mentioned to Matt on Instagram, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like the wizard commercial," and I'm like, "I was the wizard. I played the wizard," which is really funny. So if anybody wants to look that up, you can look that up. But I love Expedition Roasters coffee. I think it tastes really good. It's not super expensive. You get it mailed to your house. And they actually, for those who go to Disneyland and have stayed at the Howard Johnson's, I think it is, it's across of Catella, or no, across Harbor, their coffee is actually what's in your hotel room there. So it is, awesome. For some people who have gone to Disney, they've had Expedition Roasters coffee, and that's kind of a nice little tie-in for them. So anyway, check out Expedition Roasters. They're amazing. Yeah, it's a couple up in like New Jersey it's just them. It's like a little family-owned business, and they do everything and roast it and sell it online. It's fantastic. Okay.
By the way, I looked up that Viking coffee. According to the website, it's a scrumptious combination of Bailey's Irish Cream, Camorra coffee liqueur, and coffee. So that's what they listed as.
Oh, what's Viking about any of that?
It's in Norway.
Yeah, that's about
it. Cool. All right, sweet. Cool.
Wait, so do we finish? Like, what was I want to know your top spot in Epcot before we leave Epcot.
Well, it was any of the Joffrey's blends, right?
Yeah.
Any of them? Okay.
My top spot in Epcot's going to be Joffrey's. Yeah.
Okay. So just any Joffrey's cart, one of the 4 that are inside the park is where we can find you. Okay. I can respect that.
Yeah, the Joffrey's in Epcot was the first one to start doing Nitro Cold Brew as well.
Yes.
So now that they, I think it turned out well. They spread to all the other kiosks in the parks too. So
interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move into Hollywood Studios. Now that Pete's not going to yell at me for leaving Epcot.
A couple more questions. No. Okay.
So we've already talked about Charlie Car Cafe, which I agree. I think
Wait.
And,
I do have one other question.
Oh, okay.
Just before we leave Epcot, because it is the home of all the festivals, not counting a Joffrey's, has there been a favorite coffee, cocktail, or drink at a booth over the years? Any festival, any booth that has really stood out for you? And then we could go over to Hollywood Studios, because I'm just curious.
The thing about Joffrey's during the festivals, when they do a special festival coffee, it's the same coffee as what they always serve. So it's like they just advertise it. So for example, they'll do like a special flower and garden iced coffee, which is really just the same iced coffee with some Baileys in it. So
it's that seasonal blend. They just add something to it for the festival.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I think I'm now comfortable moving on.
I like all these questions.
I just wanted to get it all in before we go. I was so excited. to have an expert on, and I just hijacking Josh's show because I have so many questions.
No, you're not hijacking anything. I think. I mean, this being the second episode, Pete, and the fact that you've been on 100% of this podcast, I think that qualifies you for like a co-hosting.
I do have
position.
A plaque on my wall that says 100% attendance for this show.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, you can't beat 100% attendance. All right, so let's move into Hollywood Studios. So we know we have Trolley Car Cafe, which is fantastic. I agree. It's one of the best Starbucks, not only the best coffee, but like one of the best Starbucks. Period. I think inside or outside of Disney. The only thing I wish that the Starbucks inside of Disney would do is Clover. Clover brews. It's the only thing I wish that they would do that they don't do. For those who don't know, Clover it's like a higher end Starbucks Reserve blend, or Starbucks Reserve coffees. And the Clover machine. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, because you would know more than I do. But it was described to me as an upside down reversed vacuum. French press.
Yeah.
That's the
it's
way
crazy to watch too.
What does that all mean?
If you go to the Starbucks in Disney Springs, they have a couple Clover brewers. Basically, they will brew 1 cup of coffee at a time for you. They'll pick out your beans, they'll grind them, they'll put the grinds in the top of the Clover brewer and use a little whisk with some hot water to mix it up. And then a vacuum sucks all of the coffee out of it into your cup and then leaves a hockey puck of coffee grounds on the top of the machine that they just squeegee off.
It's so weird. The little cake thing that comes on top. Yeah. Oh, it's so weird.
Oh, I've seen this. Okay, yeah, that's super cool. I've never had one though.
That's the only place in Disney World.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Whenever I would go to Disneyland, we would always stop at the Starbucks right there by World of Disney and grab a coffee. Weird fact about that Starbucks at Disneyland, one of the baristas told me something. I don't know if this is 100% true or not, but they told me that that's either the number one or one of the number one most trafficked Starbucks in the country. That one at Disneyland. By World of Disney.
Is there only one Starbucks over there? Is that why?
There were 2 in downtown Disney at Disneyland. I don't know if they ever reopened the second one. When Disneyland at downtown Disney did that whole like half of downtown Disney shut down because they were going to build the new hotel. Then they closed ESPN. They closed the movie theater. They closed Rainforest Cafe. They closed one of the Starbucks and some other stuff. And they were going to demolish all that and build a hotel. And then the tax breaks issue happened with the city of Anaheim, and a lot of that stuff is still closed. Earl of Sandwich reopened, but I don't think the Starbucks ever reopened because they're not doing the hotel. Now, a little rumor is that hotel is now actually going to happen, and we'll see what actually goes through with that. But that's not about coffee. Let's get off of Disneyland. So Hollywood Studios. So other than that spot,
So a Clover, they have. Is it the reason we went off on that Clover?
It's because they don't have them at Starbucks in the parks, and I wish that they did, because the Clover, like one of my favorite coffees ever is Jamaica Blue Mountain.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite coffees. I know it comes out for like 6 or 7 weeks or something like that, and and then it's gone. And it's, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the most expensive coffee Starbucks sells. It was like $15 or $20 for a half pound.
Get out of here. Like you can pay up to $50 for it.
And it's very, very popular. It's delicious.
Is it worth the hype?
I love it. It's my favorite coffee.
Yeah, Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee is one of those exclusive coffees that you can only get in certain places. Fun fact, the only place in Disney World that you can get it is Sebastian's Bistro.
What?
In the
really?
For some reason, I think there must be some reason why they chose to put Jamaican coffee.
For those who do not know, Sebastian's Bistro is at the Caribbean Beach Resort on Walt Disney World property.
But it's Joffrey's too. And you can actually get Joffrey's Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee on their website.
Really?
Oh. Is it the same, whether you have it from Starbucks or Joffrey's or...
Well, if you go to Starbucks, not just in Disney World, but, any Starbucks Reserve, the one in Disney Springs is a Starbucks Reserve. So they'll do rotating rare small batch coffees from estates around the world that you can only get, for a limited time, and then it's gone for a few years. I don't know if there's too much difference between Starbucks and Joffrey's, but It's definitely a really good coffee.
The same region, so you're gonna have similar style.
Yeah.
I will real quick. So I will warn people against buying any other bags of coffee at Starbucks. So the reserve ones, they're only there for a short time. They're there and gone. I was told by a friend of mine who will remain nameless, not rename mainless. Wow, words are hard. Will remain nameless. Who's a manager at Starbucks, and I asked him how long they've had some of their coffees and what the roast dates are. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, generally you're supposed to use beans. It's like 4 days after they've been roasted is when you can start using them, and not past, I don't remember what it was, like 30 or 32 days or something like that. It's like within that window, coffee's basically good. And I asked,
once you roast it, not like beans in general, but once they're roasted, you have a 4 to 32 day window. Is that right?
Something.
I'm
like
learning
that.
all this. I'm repeating it for everyone else like me.
Yeah, something like that. And
Okay.
I asked him, why doesn't Starbucks put the roast date on their coffees? Because at the time I lived in Northern California, and Pete's Coffee is huge up in Northern California, and they write the roast dates on everything. And if it's past, I think it's 30 days, they take it off the shelf and they get rid of it. And what I was told was Starbucks stopped doing that because they couldn't compete with the mom and pop shops. And so he told me most of the bags of coffee you'll see for sale at Starbucks are somewhere in the range of 1 year old, which is just so I was just like, cool.
So they roast them and then bag them at Starbucks?
Yeah. Well, well, everyone. Yeah.
No, I mean everyone. I mean, like you're saying it that Starbucks here, Disney, they would have roasted them way prior to a month beforehand.
Probably.
That they're getting,
and it gets shipped out. Yeah, stored in a warehouse and shipped out. Because they're just doing it in such scale. It's
That's
really
similar,
hard for
like
them.
I can identify with that because like I'm a craft beer guy. So like with craft beer, especially with like IPAs, which I'm a big IPA guy, is you want to drink them as fresh as possible.
Yeah.
So they'll date their cans, and sometimes you'll go to a bottle shop or a beer place, and you'll see an IPA that was made over a year ago, and you're like, this is going to be whether like a malt bomb or something like that. So it's interesting that coffee, once you roast it, is similar. That you want to have it. I mean, IPAs are very similar. You want to have it, like a 4, in that first 4 weeks for sure.
The cool thing about Joffrey's though is that when you order on their web, and I don't even get paid or anything by Joffrey's. So one thing that's cool is when you order from their website, they will start roasting your coffee when your order is made, and it takes like 3 days to get it to you. But when you get the box, they'll have a note in there that says this is when your coffee was roasted.
Wow.
So their coffee is not sitting on the shelf. It's actually like roasted as soon as you make your order.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That's awesome.
Do you find that the Joffrey's bags at Disney Springs are also super fresh? Like, since they are ready to go when you walk in, I'm curious, like, and they have so many of the different Disney blends. How is that rotation done?
That's a good question. I mean, I haven't really looked at the dates on those bags, but I'm sure since it's in the middle of Disney Springs, there's a lot of foot traffic and a lot of people buying those that they probably don't stay on the shelf that long.
And they probably do what Pete's does, where if they are on the shelf for a certain amount of time, they'll take it off.
Maybe.
At least you would hope. Okay, so
I
Hollywood
was going to say,
Studios.
since we have the audience, if they're on like let's say they expire at 32, if they're on day like 22, they probably could just ship the Le Cellier blend to Le Cellier and have them use it for the next 10 days, or ship this blend to there, knowing they're going to move it that day.
Yeah.
Virtually no waste.
Yeah, hopefully. Okay, so we have Charlie Car Cafe, but other than that, I know there's Joffrey carts, but what is there in terms of coffee at Hollywood Studios?
Let's talk Hollywood Studios.
Let's see. Hollywood Studios, there's 21 places to get coffee there.
I love how you just know this off the top of your head. That's amazing.
Because I've honestly been to them all. So my favorite restaurant to get coffee in Hollywood Studios is the Hollywood Brown Derby.
Yeah.
Okay,
just because it comes out in a press pot. They have their own blend that Joffrey's made especially for them.
Okay.
It's a medium roast. I don't know, just something about that restaurant and the way it was presented. It was just so good. My favorite kiosk is the one behind Tower of Terror.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I have been to that one. That one's pretty good.
You can go in the gift shop, and there's benches, and there's a lot of, where they used to do the photo pass pictures. There's a couple wooden benches in there that you can get out of the sun for a little bit.
I was going to say, it's a really cool spot to kind of hide away because everyone kind of rushes out of Tower and back up Sunset, towards the exit of Phantasmic and everything else. But that little coffee booth, like, you're right, it's nice and quiet. And if you go the opposite way, it's just a dead end. Yeah. It's a nice little quiet area. The garden planters is kind of like makes for a bench. Yeah. So you can like sit down and enjoy a coffee. Well, and also, I would say a great spot for when it rains, you want to get out of the rain, it's covered there at the exit, and people just run out and go to the next ride. Yep. But it's usually a nice place. You can grab a hot coffee if it's raining and you're kind of like miserable, sit underneath a covered surface and just hang out. What a cool spot.
Yeah. Well, and the nice thing about Tower being so tall and all those trees too, it's also super shady most of the day. So getting, that back corner is not being beaten down in the sun during the summer. I agree. It's a really, really great spot.
I was going to say too, with your Brown Derby pick, and the reason I like that pick is kudos to whoever my server was last time I was there, because they actually told me about having their own blend when they asked me about the dessert options. So I think that's super cool that the staff actually mentions that, because I've never heard a staff member mention that until that point, which was, I want to say, a few months ago. Yeah. So that's really neat. And I think that's such a really cool selling point to have your own blend inside of one of those Disney dining options.
Yeah. And even if you don't have a reservation there, you can just go to the little lounge on the side. And if you see an open chair, take that chair.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a fun hack I give for, again, like a lot of stuff I do is for drinkers at Disney, is that kind of my specialty. But I always tell people, like, especially if you have Tables of Wonderland or looking for a place to hang out where there's a full bar, is if you don't want to go into the Brown Derby, there's that outside little bar area. And if you're walking past where the old Starring Rolls Cafe used to be on the corner of over there, is that you can walk up, and anyone can walk up, whether you have a reservation or not, and you can order a drink, including coffee, and there's a little area to sit down. That's a great little hack. And they take Tables of Wonderland. So if you're if you have that discount, besides cocktails, it works for coffee and snacks as well.
It does. And if you don't have that discount, you absolutely should have that discount if you're even semi-local or going to go often. It's absolutely worth it, in my opinion. Okay, so Brown Derby, number one. What else is there? Because I'm trying to think of like remembering seeing Joffrey's carts, and I know they're there, but I don't have like a memory of them.
There's a Joffrey's. It's not a cart. It's more of like a little brick shop that's at the entrance of Pixar Toy Story Land.
I was gonna say that's always busy. That has a line all the time.
Yeah.
Well, because it's that.
I have a friend who was down. I'm sorry, I cut you off. You want to go ahead, Josh?
Oh, I was just gonna say it's because it's that dead end either coming out of Toy Story Land where people have gone through Galaxy's Edge, they've gone through Toy Story Land, they're exhausted because their kids have been screaming at them through Toy Story Land. They're like, I need coffee now, and the road just ends at the booth.
Besides, usually there's a huge line at the Starbucks when you walk in, right? Especially if you're there earlier in the day. Yeah. So if you were to try and be like, hey, I'll just go to a Joffrey's cart, you head that way. And again, I'm not a big coffee drinker except for just a quick espresso from time to time, but I appreciate the art. But I was with a bunch of friends who were coffee drinkers. I said, let's go to this Joffrey's area back by Toy Story. And that had a line around the block.
Yeah.
Two-part question. Is it always like that? Or I found that they also have specialty items there, or like one-offs, or like whether it's food or beverage, they have something special in that kiosk. Am I wrong?
They do have a lot of special seasonal items there. I think most recently it was an iced latte. It was called Round 'em Up Latte. And it was dulce de leche and like animal crackers in the coffee.
Wow. That sounds
so that was a special. The lines are not always super long there, so it depends on the time of day. But you can pass it and just go to Woody's Lunchbox and get Joffrey's coffee there too.
But they won't have a full menu, right? It's just coffee, or do they have specialty beverages, or just like coffee?
They have hot coffee and cold brew. So you could
an espresso, or I can't get like some kind of frappy, lovely thing. Yeah, okay.
But you can order ahead at Woody's Lunchbox, so your coffee can be waiting for you when you get there.
You can. That is nice. I order cocktails from Woody's Lunchbox for that exact reason. That you can order on your phone. Speaking of heading that way, I just have a follow-up. Is there any unique offerings in Galaxy's Edge coffee-wise?
No.
I came back real quick. I had to take a message and I was like, "Oh, Galaxy's Edge!" And I jumped back in real quick, and then he said no.
There's 3 places to get Joffrey's Coffee and Galaxy's Edge. There's Oga's, there's Ronto Roasters, and then there's Docking Bay. Actually, no, I take that back because in Oga's Cantina, they have a Black Spire cold brew, which is hands down the weirdest coffee I've ever had.
Really?
But it's good. It's Joffrey's cold brew with half of a lime, 2 cherries, honey, falernum, and passion fruit.
Really?
And it's more like a juice than anything, but it's pretty good.
Wow. And that's using their standard medium roast?
Probably.
Okay. Well, you said there's a medium roast there, but you said there's a French roast at Epcot. Is this the same kind of coffee, or is this different?
So Joffrey's, if that location doesn't have its own specialty coffee, they're probably using Joffrey's French roast coffee. It's
Which
kind
is
of
a
like their
medium
signature.
kind of blend? So it's like the same thing, kind of?
It's either a medium or a dark. It might be a dark.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Sorry, I'm weird.
Interesting.
No, it's good. Joffrey's doesn't really make any light roast coffees for Disney. It's either a medium or a dark or full roast. So like if you go to Flying Fish on the boardwalk,
Okay.
they'll
Top
have
3 restaurant at Walt Disney World, by the way.
Yeah.
Top 3.
they'll do their own. They have their own espresso blend that Joffrey's does for them. So
They also have a lot of ridiculously awesome coffee desserts and coffee
Oh, yeah.
options.
Yeah.
Probably, I mean, again, because this is coming from a guy who just has double espresso or triple espresso wherever he goes, and that's it. I don't really adventure. But someone told me to try a few of the coffee desserts, and so we ended up trying all of them one night. And it was insane how delicious these things are at
Yeah.
Flying.
And this is Flying Fish.
Yeah.
Wow.
So again,
okay.
I have more questions about off-property stuff, so we should probably finish Hollywood Studios. I'm very specific about finishing a park, obviously, before we move on.
Well, I think what we're gonna have to do, I think we're gonna have to. We'll finish up the parks, and I think we're gonna have to do a part 2 to this podcast where we do just the resorts because there's like way too many of those. And there are new coffee spots showing up, like the new coffee spot at the Riviera, which I've been to a few times, and I think
Oh,
is absolutely
so good.
amazing.
Oh, so good, so good.
Yeah, it's
That's
really,
my top,
really good.
my favorite
What
coffee at
makes
the
it
moment.
so good, Matthew? What makes it so good? Just tell me.
Save it for the next podcast.
Okay, fine.
All right, so
a teaser,
Hollywood
What a
Studios.
teaser.
The rest of Hollywood Studios is just the normal Joffrey's hot coffee you could get in the kiosk. So ABC Commissary, Sci-Fi, Backlot Express, and all the restaurants up and down Sunset, like Rosie's and even in the Dockside Diner. So there's a lot of places to get coffee. Around the winter time, they'll add in their hot chocolate too, which Joffrey's hot chocolate is so much better than Starbucks hot chocolate. So
Huh? I've never. I don't know if I've ever had Starbucks hot chocolate. Probably.
I don't think Starbucks hot chocolate. I was gonna say Starbucks hot chocolate is garbage.
Oh, really? Is it? Okay.
Anything is better than that, because again, I'm not a coffee drinker, and for years I just recently jumped into the espresso world. I
Yeah.
was only drinking hot chocolate, and being from New York, like when you want something hot, not drinking coffee and tea, hot chocolate was my only option, and it's
Yeah.
not. So that's good news to hear. I stopped drinking it for years, but that's good to hear that they have
Yeah.
a decent hot chocolate.
Interesting.
it seems like you guys are Team Joffrey's, and I am too, because my thinking is that people are coming from all over the country to Disney, and the Starbucks that you get in Disney is the same Starbucks that you're going to get in like Wisconsin, and so there's nothing
The
really special about
experience.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Try something
Although
new.
some people are creatures of habit, so I guess it's nice that
Mhm.
if you wake up every day and have this XYZ, you can go to
Yeah.
Disney Park and have XYZ, and it's the same as, like you said, in the middle of
It's
nowhere.
consistent. Yep. When you see the Starbucks logo, you're like, oh, thank God,
Yeah.
I
So
know.
there's something to be said about that there, but if you are, I guess, a true coffee aficionado or adventurer, it's got to be cool to try some new blends and some new roasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I like about this whole thing, because I've learned a whole bunch that I didn't even know. Like the Cellier has their own blend, and Brown Derby has their own blend, and all these Joffrey things that are very special, and you can buy them at Disney Springs. It almost sounds like you should, coffee drinkers should start doing like the equivalent of Drink Around the World, but with coffee. Like there should be these check marks of coffees that you need to have, and you could just go throughout Disney and start checking
We were
them
going to
off.
do. I totally agree, and we were going to do a monorail coffee crawl, and then the virus kind of happened, so we had to replan
I just
that.
want to know, like,
I love the way you
after
put that.
that
And then
all happened,
the-
where, like, how late do you guys stay up? You do a monorail coffee crawl from like 10 a.m. to 2, and then at like 2 a.m. are you guys on the jelly rolls like raging? Like, it's gotta be
Like,
just
at this point, I guess we just stay up until rope drop.
yeah. You guys just stay awake straight to rope drop and then pass out at noon the next day.
That's amazing. Okay, so real quick, because we never got, we had your favorite coffee at Epcot. We had your favorite coffee at Hollywood Studios. What was your favorite coffee at Animal Kingdom?
Which was that was your favorite location, you said, right?
Was Starbucks. But what's your favorite coffee at Animal Kingdom?
Or any hidden gems or facts, because I'm learning so much.
Well, we talked about Animal Kingdom at the beginning, but we weren't doing this whole favorite coffee thing.
But we didn't also talk about like how, so first of all, hold on, let me get this straight if I remember. 32 at Epcot, 21 at Hollywood Studios. Animal Kingdom?
Animal Kingdom's 20 or 21.
Wow.
Okay, so right around Hollywood Studios. Again, like I know if you go left, you're going to hit that beautiful Starbucks, Creature Comforts that we talked about earlier in the show. If you go to the right, there is a Joffrey's booth on the way to Dino Land, right?
Yep.
Where else? Are there other coffee carts besides restaurants?
So
And I have a follow-up to that as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So what I really like about the Joffrey's kiosk in Asia, the one that's themed the Royal Anandapur Tea Company, is that they always have really good specials. And the backstory is that it's the tea company for the Royal Anandapur city where they grew the tea leaves on the side of Expedition Everest. But they have a tea menu there that's so long, and it's the only place in Disney World where you can get those certain teas.
Cool.
And yeah, it's such a cool
And
thing.
they just built that new, again, if you haven't been there the last 6 months or so, they built that new area just to hang out and drink your coffee right along the river. If you go down a few steps, there's just a really cool, what I call like a decompression spot. But like, you just go down there and it's quiet and it's beautiful to, whether you want to people watch or look at the river and the beautiful colors and the horticulture. It's a great little spot down there.
I like this name.
Even at night too.
Decompression spots. We should do a decompression spot list on for Disney.
My follow-up to that is, unlike other parks, Animal Kingdom has a third-party restaurant, Yak and Yeti, inside. Are they also using Joffrey's or Starbucks, or do they use their own blend and house the coffee there, since that's a third-party location?
Yeah, they're using their own coffee blend. Funny story about Yak and Yeti. When I went there, I love that restaurant. It's so good and amazing.
The Landry's property, for those who don't know. Same
It's
people
Landry's,
as Rex or Rainforest Cafe.
So when I didn't see coffee on their menu, I asked why. And the waitress said, because it's so bad.
Wow.
And I was like, well, I'll get it anyway. I want to try it. I want to test it. And she was like, I don't think you do. I think you want to go to the Joffrey's right across the street. And I was like, no.
I hate to get this coffee for free. Can I say I hate it? I just want to try it.
I was like, I still want to try it.
It's like she's telling you like somebody put something in it. Like you really don't want it.
That's how it was. And then it came and she was like, I'm not going to charge you for this because it's so bad.
It's so fun.
No.
We've had it since the park opened in 1996. That's when it was roasted.
No, that's when it was brewed. It's been sitting in a pot.
It was so funny. She was like, I can't in good conscience let you pay for this.
It was their 22nd anniversary on Earth Day last week. But anyway.
Yeah. So Yak and Yeti, great restaurant, great food. Not so good on the coffee.
Terrible
coffee. So was she being honest with you? Was it really bad?
It was bad. Yes, it was bad. It wasn't like as undrinkable as she was making it out to be.
Well, I was going to ask you, this was going to be like at the end when you were done with everything, but I'll ask it now because it's relevant. What is the worst coffee on Disney property?
Oh.
That's a good question. The worst coffee that I've ever had in Disney was in the Scat Cats Club Lounge in Port Orleans.
I was going to say, that's got to be so good.
Really? Scat Cats?
No, just because the chicory coffee there is good. It's the only place on property that you can get chicory coffee because it's famous in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And it's good. When I went to get a cappuccino there, they just gave me a cup of hot milk.
No way.
So I took my hot milk to the coffee dispenser and I made my own. But it was just
no.
And the thing is, I think it was like $7 for like a very tiny cup.
Very expensive. Well, I'm talking about the place where you get the beignets. For those who are not familiar, we're talking Port Orleans, French Quarter. Scat Couch Lounge is a place that's open from 4 o'clock on, but right outside of the lounge is the famous place where you can get the beignets, the Mickey-shaped beignets.
Yeah.
I had an espresso from there, and I was going to say, I think it was double or triple espresso there, and it was very good, but it was extremely pricey. Like
It was, yeah.
Was this when we went for Mardi Gras that day?
This is when I did the run. I did the beignet
okay.
day.
So that's shocking to me, though, because of the fact that so in New Orleans, for those who don't know, there's a cafe. It's Café du Monde, which is like super popular, super famous. It's in the French. Well, they have it in a mall as well. But there's one in the French Quarter, and their beignets are fantastic, and they're super well known for the coffee. And you can actually get the beignet mix and the coffee from Café du Monde at French Quarter. So I'm shocked that they aren't brewing that coffee because it's really good. Like.
Or at least a French roast at the French Quarter. Come on.
Oh, how do you mess that up?
I finally got chicory coffee on my 4th attempt because I went there 4 times. First 3 times I was like, "Do you have the chicory coffee?" No.
Incredible.
And the 4th time, it's pretty good, but it's expensive.
One of my favorite lounges on the weekends, but one of the worst places to get coffee.
Yeah. All right. Staying with the resorts. Did we say what your favorite coffee in Animal Kingdom was?
So in Animal Kingdom, my favorite coffee, if you go to the Nomad Lounge.
I love Nomad Lounge.
They have an awesome coffee cocktail.
Yeah, they have coffees that you can't get anywhere else on property, and like a press pot of really good Peruvian rainforest coffee. And
really?
one special coffee called Mustang Coffee.
Yes, you have to get the Mustang Coffee.
Is which Joe Rohde specifically wanted on the menu.
Yes. I was gonna say this. I'm so excited you're saying it.
Mustang Coffee. I didn't know about this.
Another show last week. We talked about we were naming the best lounges on Disney property.
It's got to be the best.
My nomination was Nomad. It ended up coming in 2nd place out of like 70 different lounges, and only lost to Trader Sam's. But one of my points was this Mustang Coffee and their coffee list on top of cocktails. But you're the expert, so I'll let you talk about it. Yeah. But I'm so happy you brought this up.
So real quick, Pete, just to give you some more fire for Nomad Lounge and that being one of the best lounges, they, according to one of the bartenders last time I was there, they have the largest whiskey selection on Disney property.
Wow.
At Nomad Lounge. Yeah. So if you're like whiskey and apparently coffee, I didn't know about this Mustang Coffee thing. You need to go to Nomad Lounge.
Well, there's whiskey in it too, right? Isn't there whiskey in the Mustang Coffee, or the cocktail version?
There is. Yeah, there is.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Butter.
And butter?
Yeah.
Brown, like melted brown butter. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
That's incredible.
It's so rich.
It's a I guess traditional coffee from Nepal, and Imagineers said, we have to be authentic. Let's serve it there.
That's so incredible. Cool. So real quick, speaking of butter, what for those who don't know, there's this weird coffee butter diet thing. Do you know about this, Matt? So what are your? Just real quick, because I'm really curious what you think about this. There's like
the keto coffee.
Yeah, who put like butter in their coffee and like that's like their whole diet. This is a tangent, not about Disney. I'm just really curious what you think of this and explain to people.
I haven't been down that rabbit hole of the why. I just know that it tastes good, and you can also get it at the coffee bar in the Swan and Dolphin.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's specifically called. Starts with an M. I'm gonna get it wrong, so I don't know.
I have it in a video that I never published because I love the coffee shop over there too. It's a really cool little coffee shop.
Yeah.
Swan or the Dolphin? Again, I don't know. I mix them up. I just call them the Swolphin.
The Swolphin. Well, I mean, technically, isn't it? Didn't they put the statues in the wrong hotel? So I mean, you're technically right.
That's a true fact.
Yeah.
And the Cove is coming along pretty quickly. But anyway, that's a whole different show.
Yeah. All right. So last resort or last park, because we're going on 9:45 here, so we got to wrap it up pretty quickly. Magic Kingdom. Let's jump into Magic Kingdom.
We're finishing with your favorite location for Starbucks.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Main Street Bakery just because the lines are always so long. You're already waiting in lines all day.
I mean, speaking of Main Street Bakery, I mean, did you see I stole one of your Instagram photos as our background today?
Yeah, that's great.
Well, I recently did a post for every single Starbucks on property. So after I'm done, now that I'm done that, I'm going to go back to loving on Joffrey's.
For sure.
But let's see, in Magic Kingdom, my favorite coffee spot is the Revive in Tomorrowland.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Totally agree.
And
how many places can you buy coffee in Magic Kingdom?
How early?
No, how many places? How many locations?
23.
Ooh, so it's the second
second on the list. Yeah.
So what's interesting?
Disney Springs has the most.
Oh, so it's third. Okay. Well, we'll save Disney Springs for when we do the resorts. We'll do the resorts and Disney Springs, a full coffee tour. So what's interesting with that Revive location, the last time I got coffee there, I think it was an iced coffee. One, it was the worst service I've ever had at Disney, ever in my life, was at that location.
Sometimes.
Like the employees, I don't know.
Are you sure you wanted Universal?
Yeah, right. It was just before I went on. I think it was King Kong. So I think the employees were just a little annoyed because there was a ton of lines and a bunch of people who didn't really understand how to order and where to pick up, and they kept explaining. They were really backed up. But I ordered 2 iced coffees, and it was literally the worst coffee I have ever had in my life. I think we just threw them away and kind of were like, I'm not even dealing with it. So I'm definitely going to need to go back to that specific location, because that specific location was the one that was just like, I don't know what happened. It must have been a really, really bad day.
Well, they have the most stuff. Isn't that the place that usually like debuts something like weird and unique the most often in the Magic Kingdom?
Yeah. They most recently they had. Actually, it's been there for a little while, but the Mission to S'mores latte, which is basically a graham cracker and chocolate and marshmallow latte, is super good.
Are those like anything like, so I've never had one of these. Are they as thick as like a Frappuccino? Like how crazy sugary thick?
Oh no, it's just they start out with liquid chocolate on the bottom, and then they pour in the espresso, hot or cold, and then they top it with graham cracker crumbles and marshmallow, and then more chocolate. So it's not blended like a Frappuccino. It's more of like an iced latte with extra stuff thrown into it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so other than that, so where are the other locations in Magic Kingdom that you can get some coffee?
They're all over. Pinocchio Village House has good flavored iced coffee. The Friar's Nook has good cold brew. Cinderella's Royal Table has good coffee. But
anything have its own unique brew in the Magic Kingdom?
No.
Okay.
Oh, really?
By the way, if I sound different, I'm the podcast genius that just plugged in his microphone right now. So
is that what the problem? No, I'm not even kidding. Really? Because
I just plugged it in right now. I just noticed. I'm like, why is the light on my mic not on? And I just looked, and it's literally the plug is sitting next to me. So I'm a really
so I've been
intelligent
sitting here
person.
the entire time going, something sounds really weird in my headphones, and I don't know what it is. But we're live, so I don't want to like break it down and deconstruct our system.
That was me.
No.
That was me.
All right, cool.
It's always something. Yeah.
Good to know. I think Pete, we're gonna need to buy you a USB like microphone here soon.
I have one now. No, I have. I just plugged in the USB mic.
Oh, okay.
I have like 5 or 6 mics. They're literally like laying across. But this is my favorite for stuff like this. It's right on it's a desktop one right here with the sound pop. Wee, hello. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Anyway, Magic Kingdom. So no unique blends, not surprising to me. What else is exciting or not exciting about Magic Kingdom coffee-wise?
Honestly, not too much. You can get hot coffee at pretty much every, location. Gaston's Tavern.
I'm glad we saved the best for
Treats.
last.
Even, as you're walking to Splash Mountain, Westward Ho, that little kiosk there that sells snacks. You can get Joffrey's cold brew or hot coffee, and then Pecos Bill. So pretty much every place you can eat in Magic Kingdom, you can get coffee there too.
But just your standard run-of-the-mill coffee everywhere at Magic Kingdom, pretty much.
Yeah, you're not going to find anything, super unique like you would in Animal Kingdom.
Interesting. I'm surprised that Not Even Be Our Guest has. I would figure they would have some form of particular brew or something or blend that you could get in like a French.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But
I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that the Starbucks in Epcot has something cool, and my dream is that they incorporate Club Cool into like a coffee tasting thing.
A Beverly coffee? How exciting!
Beverly, I actually enjoy Beverly. It's like
so.
Of course you do. You don't like Tipsy Ducks in Love, but you love Beverly.
I wouldn't say love Beverly, but I drank it and was like, yeah, all right, that's palatable.
But overall, I think coffee is one of those things that keeps people going and keeps the world running. And as I'm always a tired parent in Disney, so I'm always looking for something to help me out. So it's fun to go to every place and drink coffee and then write a blog post about it. I was never really into the video aspect. I'm not a vlogger, so I'm just sticking with blog posts for now.
Will you come vlog with me when I vlog and do a coffee vlog?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, sweet.
There we go. And I think I definitely think I like this idea of doing like a comedians in cars get coffee, but like I don't know, people at Disney get coffee, whatever it is, like sit down at Disney and have some coffee. I think it's a really, really great idea. And I definitely want to do a coffee series with you for our channel if I can steal you away, and we can do some really in-depth coffee videos. And then we'll still Pete and we'll do some really in-depth like beer videos and cocktail videos.
There's coffee beer in the American Adventure.
There is. Beer? They bring it in all the time. I think mostly for food and wine, but they have it pretty often. It's a blonde they had last year. Who was it? Like three daughters?
Three daughters.
Yeah, three daughters, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's super interesting.
Beer nerd in me. It's not bad. I mean, honestly, it's a lot of people's favorite. I'll give another company, another podcast a shout out. Can I do that? Should I do it? No.
Yeah, you can do that. Whatever.
I was gonna say I haven't. They're friends of mine. I haven't talked to them in a little bit. I actually should message them. But WDW Happy Hour, one of the panelists there does his favorite drink. One of his favorite drinks during the Food and Wine Festival is that blonde coffee drink. So that's how he's the one that turned me onto it before I moved here to Florida. And then when I was here, I made sure I gave it a try.
Very interesting. I'd also love to do an episode where we chat about just coffee food items across the park. Maybe we can do that when we do resorts. Yeah. We'll have you back on and we'll do all the resorts and we'll do Disney Springs. We'll do coffee food. That'll be like a 3-hour show. So it'll be fantastic. We'll all drink some coffee while we do the show.
Well, to conclude this one, could we get like a bronze, silver, and gold of like in the 4 parks where we should go, what should we do, what should we drink, or location? I don't know how you want to break it down by location, by beverage, but whatever you want to do, Matthew.
I think you should do gold, silver, bronze, silver, gold of just the best coffee. And no particular. They could all be at Epcot. They could all be. It doesn't matter. Like, what are the 3 best? But in park.
It's your world.
I recently did a top 20 in Disney World, and I felt bad because there was even things that I was cutting off of that list of 20, and maybe we could get into it later. But the champion, the gold star, was the Riviera blend at Topolino's Terrace.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, spoiler alert. Stay tuned for the next episode, because we're definitely going to get into the Riviera, because they've got some good coffee at that resort.
Wait. So, what is the silver and bronze, or anything in the parks? Since we talked parks this episode,
I'm gonna give. Let's see. A silver medal is probably Hollywood Brown Derby.
Okay.
Ooh, good to know.
Maybe bronze is Kona Cafe.
Ooh, that's a good spot too. That's a good spot too. Over the Polynesian.
So your silver is like all of Disney World, Brown Derby, not just in the parks.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. What would your bronze and your gold be just in the parks? I'm guessing gold just in the parks would be Brown Derby.
We'll bump that up. Yeah, I guess.
Let's see. In the parks.
So we need silver.
I could probably just say Animal Kingdom for
whatever.
The top 5 spots.
Okay.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, I definitely need to go try this Mustang coffee. I think when the parks reopen, it's going to be like me filming walk around videos and attractions, and then heading over to the back of Nomad Lounge for sure.
It's interesting. I think now that I've been babbling on about Disney coffee so much, I think when you go there, when it's opened up again, you're going to notice just how many coffees are available, and then even in the attractions, like how many attractions are themed with like coffee mugs and coffee pots.
Oh, dude, there's coffee mugs everywhere. We could do an entire episode just on coffee mugs.
Yeah.
But also theming, I think you're right. Like now that I think about it, like I remember seeing, especially at Animal Kingdom, like around Expedition Everest, like some of those like
there's thermoses of coffee.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah, you're right.
Interesting. Yeah, speaking of coffee mugs, I think the weirdest coffee mug I've ever bought from Disney is the Pandora coffee mug where it's the floating mountains.
Oh yeah.
I've never used it to drink out of because it frightens me to put it on a table because it looks so oblong, like it's just gonna fall over. It just sits in my tiki bar, but I think that's the weirdest mug I've ever bought. I'll take a picture of it one morning and I'll tag you in it on Instagram.
I have another question for you too, and I know we're going to talk the next time about, outside of the parks, whether it's resorts and Disney Springs, but you recently had an article on your website, the top 5 coffees like to try. I guess some of the more abnormal, give it a shot. And 4 of them were outside of the theme parks, which, more Disney Springs and stuff. But and you did include the Mustang Coffee at Nomad, but you just listed in general the Joffrey's Nitro Cold Brew. Is that one of your favorite cold brews, even including non-Disney parks? Or what makes it so special? Why did you put that on your list of top 5? Because top 5 you were specific, like try this here, and then you just listed Joffrey's Nitro Cold Brew. Like, what makes that so unique?
Yeah, and even every post is like a point in time thing. So I think now I probably wouldn't have put it on my list if I was making a new one today. But at the time, they were just rolling out with Nitro Cold Brew. Even Starbucks wasn't doing it in the parks, and they still aren't. But it's definitely a good dark coffee that you can get in Epcot. Actually, you can get it in every park now.
Well, not right now, but
yeah.
When they all decide to reopen. Interesting.
Yeah, Joffrey's Nitro was really good.
I'll have to try it because I thoroughly enjoy Starbucks' cold brew, the Nitro Cold Brew when I've gotten it the few times I have. So interesting. I'll have to try that one for sure. All right, Pete. Final thoughts. Any final coffee thoughts? Coffee talk. You got any final
coffee thoughts? Well, one, I don't know. It was really awesome hanging out here with Matthew. I learned a ton today. I'm excited. I already knew about the Mustang coffee, but again, from more my end, I love a good coffee cocktail. I think it's really super cool. So to hear the Mustang coffee, that was cool. To talk about Tipsy Ducks, that was fun. And I have to go try some of these other ones. I'm more excited about just going and trying some of these ones that I never knew about, like the Moroccan coffee.
It's good.
The coffee margarita in Mexico. So it was super cool. I learned a bunch, even as I'm not a not coffee guy. To me, just coffee tastes like watered down espresso because I love espresso. Sure. So I'm very excited to try all these, and I appreciate all the knowledge. I want to go have a Clover brew over at Disney Springs. I'm excited.
If you like espresso, like mixed drinks, like espresso martinis, Enchanted Rose has a good one, and then Via Napoli has a really good one too.
Oh, interesting.
All right, Enchanted Rose and Via Napoli.
I've yet to go to Enchanted Rose just because right when they opened, I looked up their menu and their basic old fashioned was like $24, and I went, whoa, no.
I tell everybody it's a cool the drink prices are out of this world, but the theming is decent, not as amazing as I hope it would be. But it's pretty nice to walk through the Grand Flow, see it, say this is nice. If you want to try one cocktail and share it, because it is very expensive.
Yeah.
But if that's your style and money is not an object, it's a great place to hang out, and I find the service is good and the drinks are fun.
Yeah. Nice. I still think so this is not really coffee, but one of my favorite lounges currently on property is it's the one at the top of the Destino. What's that? The Dahlia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dahlia Lounge, I love. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite.
They have a coffee drink too, actually. Now that I think about it, because I asked him. Yeah, I asked him one day. I was like, I'm like lagging. I need a little bit of energy, but I also want a cocktail. He's like, do you want this? It might have been an espresso martini. I don't know. It was some kind of coffee drink, but it was really good.
Oh, they have a spiced Manhattan there that is to die for. It is so good. It's really, really good. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for episode 2 of Attractions Cast, the Attractions Tubes podcast. I did it. I said it correctly. Look at that.
Yay!
Gold star for me. Second episode. We're kicking the tires. Pete didn't leave us. He didn't disappear halfway through the episode.
No, the Wi-Fi worked the entire time. I want to thank everyone in my apartment complex for not using too much Wi-Fi.
It's fantastic. Matthew, thank you for joining us. If you guys want to know more about coffee, just go over to Instagram, check out Disney Coffee Blog. That's their handle. Or go to the website, DisneyCoffeeBlog.com. It's fantastic. You will not be disappointed. Give them a follow. Give them a shout out. Let them know that Attractions Cast sent you. And we will be back with a sequel to this podcast for sure sometime in the near future. For those of you watching live, for those of you that checked it out for even just a few seconds, live, thank you. This is the first time we've ever gone live. For those listening via iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or Spotify, of which we've been approved on all of them, so we are live on all those platforms. Check out this video. You can check it out on YouTube, youtube.com/AttractionsTube. It's a full video. We record all these podcasts live. There it is. There's the Disney coffee blog. I almost said Disney food blog and just had to slap myself in the face. Disney coffee blog.
Disney coffee blog.
Check it out. It's actually what Matt's doing is fantastic. Matt or Matthew? What do you prefer?
Matt.
Okay, so what Matt's doing is absolutely fantastic. I think it's an amazing Instagram page, and the blog is fantastic. I'm constantly tagging them with my coffee mugs because I'm a coffee nerd.
Yeah, keep doing it.
As soon as I clean my Breville, I'll start making espresso again. I've got this really fancy schmancy Breville thing it needs to be cleaned. We moved from San Francisco to here, and so it's been sitting dirty on my counter. Other than that,
I have to start using my espresso maker as well. It's just sitting there in my kitchen.
Yeah, it's sitting over here just like I'm using my Keurig, and our friend bought us a brand new Keurig because our old Keurig broke, and I feel so bad. Like I've got the Chemex sitting behind the Keurig, and I've got the French press sitting next to the Keurig, and I've got this really expensive espresso machine, and I'm using a Keurig to make coffee. I'm just like, it breaks my heart every day just a little bit, but it's the fastest option. Awesome. So thank you, Matt, for joining us.
You're welcome. It was awesome. I hope to continue all this Disney coffee conversation later.
Absolutely. Yeah. We should do a coffee series, and we might just bring you back on there, Matt, and do some like.
I know a thing or two about Disney World outside of coffee.
That's what I mean. We may just bring you back and just have some coffee talk, or even just talk about restaurants and stuff.
Coffee talk, little coffee talk.
Coffee talk with Matthew.
Coffee talk.
One of my favorite quotes, which I'm stealing from a buddy of mine, is that Disneyland is a bunch of rides, shows, and attractions that happens to also have restaurants. And Disney World is a collection of restaurants that happens to also have rides, shows, and attractions. Yep. I think it's very, very accurate, and coffee is a huge part of that. So we'll definitely have you back on. So thank you guys for watching, those that are watching live, and those that are listening to the podcast. Make sure you subscribe and leave a comment. Let us know that you listen and that you maybe like the show. If you didn't like the show, let us know too, and we'll try to fix it for next time. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you on episode 3.